I am Jeff Biggs, host of the Cowboys Squad Show, and Super Bowl 61 will be fun if the Cowboys are in it.
I am Marcus Mosher, and the Cowboys probably won't be in Super Bowl 61, so calm down, Jeff.
I am Iisha Morrison, and I rebuke what Marcus is talking about right now.
Glenn Stretch Smith, every team in the NFL 0-0 today. It's perfect.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
We are ready. Super Bowl 60 is over, and that means the NFL offseason is now officially underway. So is another edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. Welcome. We start with a welcome to Iisha, multiple show Morrison. She's on so much we can't keep track. Welcome, Iisha. We've got former Cowboys coach, the one and only Glenn Stretch Smith, and back with us this week after an eventful week off camera, Marcus, one more Mosher with Marcus, congrats. Don't want to put you on the spot, but hope you and your wife and your family are doing well, and congratulations from all of us.
Well, thank you very much. The wife and the baby are doing very, very well. Now we're very sleep deprived, which means you're going to get some, more angry takes on this show. I will try to be as nice as possible, but I'm looking forward to today's show.
I know you and Coach will get along great. So it'll be fun. All right. Well, coming up over the next hour, we got a lot to get to. The very latest on what's going on with the Cowboys. They were all over the place during Super Bowl week. We've got the latest on George Pickens. It's just a snowball story that just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and getting bigger and bigger. But squad, I want to start with you, Marcus. Let's just put a bow on the NFL season, the Super Bowl, final thoughts. Happy for DeMarcus Lawrence, but what were your takeaways on the big game?
Well, one of the big themes from this season is I just thought the NFC was far superior than the AFC. And honestly, it's been that way for a couple of years. And I think we have a tendency to overrate quarterbacks, right? Like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar Jackson, they're all incredible. But you really need a good team around all these guys to win. And even as great as Mahomes and Josh Allen are, they can't will their teams to victory. And we saw a team with Sam Darnold, I think everybody would agree, probably not a top 7 or 8 quarterback, dominate the NFL this year, dominate the Patriots in the Super Bowl because they had one of the most complete rosters in the NFL. And I know it feels very simple to say that, football is a team game, but I think this season, more than any other season, really exemplifies that. You have to be really strong on both sides of the football. You have to win in the special teams phase. And I think Seattle is just another reminder that this is the ultimate team game.
Iisha, Coach?
I mean, I guess my initial question is, so can you, having said what you just said, can you pay a quarterback over $50 million and still have a balanced roster?
Yes, you can, but you've got to make really sound financial decisions. And we'll talk about one of those maybe with George Pickens here in a little bit. And you've got to nail your draft picks. And I think there's been too many times where the Cowboys have missed on a Mozzie Smith or they missed on a Sam Williams. And those are the moves that you've got to make if you want to continue to be a contender, at least in the NFC.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of having those guys on rookie deals and being able to, manipulate the cap during that time. In regard to the game, listen, I love football, and I just think, seeing Seattle and the way that they put this thing together, as you guys have talked about, as we've talked about here, it just seems like the right type of football. Does that make sense? Like, it just feels like if you're going to run a team, this is how you do it.
We call that playing honorable football. And
to me, it's just chef's kiss to the game. And especially given like what you guys are talking about with the quarterback position. And I mean, the quarterback position right now is in limbo in the NFL. I think that there's like a developmental curve that some guys aren't hitting. And then we've seen a phasing out of some of the older guys. We got some guys that are kind of taking that mantle, but like for Sam Darnold to be like a journeyman and then make it, and that team be so well orchestrated in the off seasons, in the drafting, that he didn't have to do all of that. Chef's kiss. I mean, I shout out to them. I'm very excited for them. They deserved it. And I just think they exemplified a well-oiled machine from top to bottom to get to there in this last couple of years.
That was a great answer, Iisha.
Let me ask you this. And I'm not saying it being critical, should Sam Darnold have been a journeyman?
No.
Well, he was a journeyman. And no, he probably shouldn't, but that's why that's the problem right now. We are a microwave football league, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. So many guys have come in and been successful early on that's the expectation. But no mistake to me that a guy went to multiple teams, learned multiple schemes, had to fit into them. And then when he finally, got to that sixth team, it kind of clicked for him. And he also had a defense that played well behind him as well. But it's like, this to me is more of a testament of the fact that the league is not, that the league in general is not, that the quarterback position requires development in most cases. And even the best guys need it. He needed the time. Personally, I mean, and then you only drafted, these rosters, a lot of these teams are drafting these guys and their roster prepared. They're not developing these guys. They're not developing the roster. So I just feel like it was just handled correctly, because people had a lot of questions when Seattle went out and got him. And he just went in there and managed that offense to a point and thrived off of having a really good defense. I don't think he should be paid that much. No, and should he have been paid that much by now? No, he just needed time to get somewhere where he could thrive. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't think that he should have been.
I can already see the feeling he's with two really bad football teams to start with.
Absolutely,
really yeah. Right. So when you're with really bad football teams, then all of a sudden it kind of drives you down a little bit. He got with a good team and a good situation in Minnesota, and that GM is not there anymore because of they let him walk out the door after winning 14 games. I want to know whose responsibility in Minnesota for letting him walk. It was the head coach? Was it the GM? I mean,
probably the guy that's not there anymore, right?
What?
It's probably the guy that's not there anymore, right, Kwesi?
Correct. So yeah. Right. So the point that I'm making is that I do think that when you look at how he took what happened to him his last game at Minnesota, where he had multiple turnovers, he goes and wins 14 games in Seattle and doesn't turn the ball over in the postseason this year. I mean, that's to me, that's growth with a quarterback coach, with somebody who understands how to manage a football game.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love seeing guys get better. I love seeing guys go to other places and figure it out. I'm never upset about it, because that's what this game is supposed to be about. So I'm thrilled to see him succeed.
I know the way Coach's brain is working right now. He's already thinking, who's the next Sam Darnold? And I got a feeling I know the answer, right? Is it the guy in San Francisco right now backing up Brock Purdy, Coach?
Mac Jones? Yeah, because I
think that, obviously I like Mac and I have a personal relationship with Mac, but I mean, I'm saying that, could Carr come back at, let's say, and do something? I mean, in the right situation. The point I'm making is Kubiak, Shanahan, those guys have done great jobs with quarterbacks, and they're able to get them to play at another level. I mean, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, the last player in the draft. And I'm not taking anything away from Brock Purdy. I'm just saying, those guys have been able to take some quarterbacks and get them to play at a very high level. Sam Darnold, what was the third pick in the draft? And, then bounced around, and they were able to get him for what is a bargain price at $33 million this year. He signed a 3-year, $100 million deal. And that's a bargain price for a quarterback. And that allows you in turn to be able to go spend money, to go make a midseason trade for Shaheed to go be able to do some things with your roster. And I think that, to me, that there's something to be said for John Schneider and what he's done. Is this a Cowboys show? We talking about the NFL?
Well, I was going to ask you this, Stretch. Just based on what you saw last night, what lessons do you think you can learn from this Seahawks team, and really even the Patriots team, that the Cowboys should try to fix going into 2026? Like, I'll give you one for me. You watch these two teams in the secondary and the way they tackle, and then you watch the Cowboys tackle, and it's night and day. When you have defensive backs like Devin Witherspoon that'll fly up and blitz and tackle, and they'll put their nose in the, in the run game, and they'll take on tight ends, it makes a huge difference for your defense. And I think the Cowboys have prioritized guys that have more size, athleticism, length, and maybe ball skills. And I'm not saying any of those are bad, because they're obviously not. But you need some more dogs in your secondary, right? Guys that want to be physical.
Do you think? Well, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let me ask all of you. Do you think having a defensive-minded head coach leads to them with a defensive-minded, get after your ass, take the correct angle, tackle? I mean,
yes,
I would say that I think that has a lot to do with that. How those guys, I'd like to know, how do they structure their practice? How much time in training camp do they spend, rolling that big diesel tire up in there and having them tackle at a certain, I mean, all the things that go along with that, to me, go along with the fact that you have two defensive-minded head coaches, and that's how they coach. That's how they played the game. There was one or two chances last night. I think that Seattle had a chance to kick it from maybe 60, and they didn't. They just punted the ball inside the 10 and said, let's go play defense, because that's how those coaches think.
Well, and you're right. I mean, we should give Mike McDonald.
Well, sorry to bother you for bringing that up.
No, you're right. I know we'll get back at you. Don't worry. But I do think they prioritize these guys, like Devin Witherspoon in the 2023 draft. Wasn't the longest, wasn't the biggest, didn't have a ton of ball production, but they drafted him because he was a very physical guy that could play the slot and the outside. And then in 2024, when you pair him with McDonald, you see him become an all-pro caliber player. So I think you're right. It's coaching. You also have to identify the guys that want to come in here and tackle and be physical.
Well, and that's where I was going to go to, is that, hey, maybe they're scouting the right guys. Maybe they're identifying the right guys. Maybe, whether it's Woolen, the kid out of UTSA. I mean, you have to admit, Imanwari, I don't know how you pronounce
you got
his
it.
name.
Nick Imanwari,
Yep. Get to laughing here in a minute because of my accent. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's identifying those guys, and then, hey, this is what we want. This is the characteristic that we want. Then, okay, maybe he's a little lacking here, but let me tell you, we're looking for this particular advantage there. And I think that's what you're seeing guys do.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with like what Seattle has been. Like, I mean, there's no mistake that secondary play has been important to that team, even when they were struggling. That's been a priority there, just because of what the tone that the Legion of Boom has set. They're always kind of, that's kind of their identity, because even then they had guys that came up and tackled and were physical and were tone setters, but they also had corners that had the range and could attack the ball and all those things. So I feel like that's also, I understand. I agree with that. These coaches are probably more minded to look for guys like that. But I also think that that's a part of like the identity, that they want to be continuous through their defense and through their secondary as a whole. So, and they've drafted that way for a while. They've had guys not work out. They've had some guys work out. But I just think that that's kind of also too, that's how Seattle want to get down with the get down.
Nice. I like that. And I think for me, I think back to the offense, I think you need to have a good offensive line, obviously, and I think you need to have a good running back. I think you need to have an elite running back that can just take over at certain times over the course of the season, or the couple plays here, a couple drives during a game that can really, really balance it out and dominate with the run and the pass and not be one-dimensional. And
Seattle's usage of 12 personnel this year, it has a lot of uniqueness in it. Some of the different fronts that they use. I know, if I'm not mistaken, they're one of the top in the league with 12 personnel, and they wear on you in that run game. And I think we saw some of that with New England. We don't think New England's front seven is anything to snuff at. They weren't getting no push off the line like that. Not consistently. Like, I mean, that's, to me, like, they're a really good mix of old school football, but also practical, football that we play now. And I like that.
I got one question for Stretch before we get to break.
Okay.
Stretch, I want to know what your Super Bowl party looks like. Are you just hanging out by yourself, just like mumbling about all the bad tackling, all that stuff? Or what's it look like for you?
I mean, both my parents are living, and so I have to work for a living. So last night I had to go into the studio and I had to get ready to watch a game because I had to get ready to do a TV show. I'm not in a situation where I can just eat, ride, and fart on the bus, watch the game, and eat peanuts and little Smokies. And
well, that's what I was going to ask you, what the spread was like last night.
That's what I mean. Right. Standing around scratching and waiting for the rabbit to play at halftime. I mean, I had to go to work.
So I was just wondering, like, was it pizza and wings? Was it like, nachos? But man,
you can't call him the rabbit, Coach.
What's his name?
You can't call that grown.
What is his name?
Bad
Bunny.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand the damn thing he was saying. So to hell with it. I'll call him whatever I want. The rabbit, whatever.
All right. When we come back, I want to ask you along these lines. So we talked about the Super Bowl and what Seattle's done. What do the Cowboys need to do to get back to the Super Bowl? We'll get into that when we come back. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Got to talk to you, though, about FanDuel because, as you've seen, the winter games are officially here. And if you're anything like us, if you're looking and locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the winter games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about the most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. Now, here's a couple things. The drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast. You've got the high-speed skating races that are decided by inches, hockey games that feel different right from the opening face-off. Even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. So the Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. All right, great to be back with you here on the Cowboys Squad Show. That's Iisha Morrison, Marcus Mosher, co-host of the Daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, and former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith, who stepped away, but he'll be back. All right, Marcus.
Maybe he won't be. I don't know. He might be done after we called him out for calling him Bad Bunny.
So let's keep it real here. So what we love the Cowboys offense. What do they need to do, though, to get back to the Super Bowl, realistically?
Well, I mean, the offense is obviously good enough to be a Super Bowl caliber team. And I think the special teams unit, for the most part, is. I think the combination of Brendan Aubrey and Brian Anger is just as good as what we saw last night between Myers and Dickerson. So it's really the defense. And one of the things that we've seen over the last couple of years is you can't have a bad defense. And honestly, you really can't even have an average defense. You need to have a top 5 or 6 defense if you want to be a contender. We saw the number 1 ranked defense this year win the Super Bowl in Seattle. We saw the number 1 defense in Philadelphia last year win the Super Bowl. That doesn't mean you have to have the number 1 ranked defense, but you've got to have a defense that can get timely stops and that can stop the run. And right now, the Cowboys are a long way away. Now, can that change in one offseason? Absolutely. It changed for Philadelphia in 2024 when they drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. But that's the number 1 goal. They've got to get this defense playing at a competent level to have any chance.
Yeah.
How about playing with the correct scheme? I mean, before we get into what players they want, how about playing with the right having it coordinated the right way. I mean, and I'm saying that because I do think there's something to be said for how both of those teams, to me, that you saw in the Super Bowl were they're kind of the same team. They play that 3-down look with the 2 overhang guys on first down, and then they transition to a 4-down look. They don't blitz a whole lot, but they blitz when they need to, and they're confident calling it. Yeah. How about kind of fitting that mold, knowing that the NFL is such a plagiarism business?
I mean, I'm with you. I think just being more technically sound.
Steal.
Yeah.
Go do that. Copycat.
And you're right, Shutch. Like I think we're going to see the Cowboys play a similar style of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they have the talent? Are they going to find their version of Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez or Marcus Jones? We'll see. They have these 2 first-round picks. They've got some cap space to spend. But you're right. For them to have any chance of being a contender in 2026, they've got to fix the back end.
So I'm sorry, Iisha, go ahead.
Oh no, no, go ahead, Coach. Explain.
No,
I have a question.
Say what you want to say. Go ahead.
Oh my question. I was just gonna ask, I do think that they did some sufficient work with the defensive line. Obviously, it sounds like Kenny Clark. That's something that they really want to keep working and bring him back. You went got Quentin Williams. You obviously have Donovan Izaraku. I think the linebacker position. So I think it's the linebacker position and also to the secondary. Do you feel like it's too much to fix?
I mean, in one off season, probably.
Well, I mean, you're not, but there's no way you're going to fix everything.
No, and you've got to live with. Yeah, you're going to have to make some decisions, and whether that's like keeping Malik Hooker for another year or living with the linebackers that you have on the roster. Yeah, it's probably not going to get all fixed in 1 year. But does that mean you have to be a bad defense or even an average defense? No, because I think look at Seattle's linebackers. It's Ernest Jones and a bunch of guys. They traded for Ernest Jones, midway through the training camp, and the rest of the group is it's kind of just bodies out there, and yet they made it work because they were so good on the front end and on the back end.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you both something. I mean, if you're thinking about what you want to do or how you want to be defensively, it would be fair to say those 2 teams in the Super Bowl, Houston, Denver, Chargers, wouldn't you say kind of that's where you want to be defensively as far as sound, solid, but not a lot of, I mean, I know Houston has some freaking high-end guys, but I mean, not a bunch of real, what I would consider high-end secondary players.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the Chargers are your best example, right? They've got one in Derwin James and then a lot of just good players. And I think that could work, right? Like if you can just get 4 or 5 guys that are competent starters, that's how you can rebuild the secondary faster. You don't need to have Deion Sanders and Mel Blount as your 2 corners.
Well, I mean, Houston is the perfect example, right? Petrie and 2 snake corners.
Yeah, and it's unrealistic to think you're going to be able to do that.
Right.
I think the Chargers are a good example.
That's what I'm saying. So that's not real. So now let's say, how do we, if that is truly that's the Ferrari, how do we get to be, how do we get to be just a notch below that? Do you want to see him go get a Derwin James, a snake safety? Do you want to see him get a shutdown corner? And I don't think we have that answer right now because I don't have the answer. I'll speak for myself because I haven't looked at enough of these guys yet. I don't truly know if there's 2 or 3 of these guys who I think right now are day 1 starters and are absolutely momentum changers on that side of the football for you. Maybe the Ohio State safety. Where is he going to go?
Probably before you pick.
Yep.
How do you know it's before I pick? I got the 20th pick. Why can't who are you to say I can't move up?
Well, and you got the 12th pick. You got 2 of those picks.
He's probably the best player in the draft, but
that's going to be the issue.
I wonder, I'm just wondering. we've seen people like teams are not super high on safety. I guess it depends on the team. I guess maybe we have to do some digging on who picks before Dallas and see what their track record is. And
there's a certain Ohio team that's drafting ahead of them.
But what I'm saying, Iisha, if you evaluated him that way, then how do we? And you really feel that strong about it, and you're in the you're in the room. Then how do we get ourselves in position? If he really is a true difference maker, how do we get ourselves in position to go get that guy?
Well, I mean, it is going to be more difficult with this draft, if you agree, Marcus, just because you don't have a second or a third. I mean, even trying to ransom some of those things, and then next year, well, I don't think you have your first, right?
They don't have they have one first round pick, but they can't trade it.
Tracking. So, I mean, you're in a place to where, because you don't have a second and a third, is going to make it more complicated. I mean, if there is a guy that Dallas feels that strongly about, and Marcus, you can correct me, that might be the only guy that I would even be okay with Dallas taking or trading up for, if it's like 2 spots ahead or something.
The other thing, Iisha, here is like Caleb Downs is an awesome player. Like, I'm not disparaging him at all. But the Cowboys have more needs in the secondary than just one player. Like, they need 3 starters in their secondary. Yeah. And I think if you're going to be trading assets to go get Caleb Downs, again, great player, I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. They need, and this is something that Landon and I have talked about a lot, they need 5 or 6 new starters on defense, and giving up multiple picks to get one, I don't know if that's super smart.
What about what can you do from a free agency? I haven't looked at any of those.
A lot of safeties.
Free agency.
A lot of safeties. I think you're better off that way. You'd be grabbing a couple veteran safeties and trying to piece it together that way. Because I think, Stretch, honestly, they just need guys that are competent. And I think if you have competent competent safeties, you improve the pass rush a little bit. That's how you quickly get this defense to be, a fine unit in 2026.
Well, let's just say, for instance, you're going to improve the pass rush with the scheme. Don't you think that this scheme?
I hope so.
Excuse me?
I hope so. I hope they do.
Sorry, I hit my camera.
That's all right. There you go, Stretch. You look better now. I hope the scheme really helps the pass rush. I mean, I'd also hope that it helps the secondary, but you still need talent.
Yeah, you guys.
Go ahead.
I think you guys brought up free agency, and luckily for Dallas, this is one of the better free agency classes I've seen when it comes to the secondary. So I guess we just need them to be aggressive. There you go. Aggressive. Nice. To be proactive. Yeah, be proactive and not to be reactive. That's what they did. That's why they ended up having to go get Quentin Williams later. Like, be proactive in free agency, especially given what you're saying, Marcus. If you need 5 to 7 starters on the defensive side, there's no way you're going to acquire that just in the draft. So they're going to have to get ahead in free agency, especially with this being a better DB class from that standpoint.
Marcus, we didn't have you on last week. What do you think of the coaching hires that were made?
Yeah, I think they're putting together a really good staff. I will say one of the things that I agree with Coach with is I would like to see them get a couple more veteran coaches. And they have gotten guys that have been experienced, including Marcus Dixon, but maybe a few guys that could be up at the booth helping Christian Parker, that can help him facilitate practice and run some of the meetings. I've been impressed by the staff as a whole. Those last couple guys I think could make all the difference in the world. And we saw this with, Seattle. Like, you have Mike McDonald, you have on Dirty, as a defensive coordinator, and then you've got Leslie Frazier, who's up in the booth, helping, call out, formations and plays and taking notes. Even having somebody like that by your side can make a big difference.
Yeah, I like it. All right, well, let's take our time out. When we come back, we got to get into the very latest with George Pickens and his future and his situation. We'll do that when we return. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. There we go. And, if you've hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, you need to trust Indeed sponsored jobs. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posting on other sites Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you get the right candidates faster and helps you reach them faster. Now, instead of, struggling, you get this Indeed sponsored job. It really helps your listing stand out and you can reach quality candidates faster. The sponsored jobs boost that your post has to the people who are the best match for you, that really makes a difference. And according to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. So spend more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now. Support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. All right, we're back. The Cowboy Squad Show. There's Iisha. And so we talked a little bit about George Pickens during the week, and he spoke to the media on the Pro Bowl Media Day. So the reports came out that he's going to get the franchise tag. No surprise there. But then Ian Rappaport of NFL Media said, yeah, they're going to tag him, but there's still a chance they could also trade him, which I thought when I heard that, that sounds like a leak. Somebody planted that there to kind of give a little nudge just to put it out there. But what do you think? The tag, it seems like the realistic conclusion is you put the tag and then they'll get a long-term deal done and everybody will live happily ever after. But there's still that possibility because of the agent. We don't know. It's not a slam dunk.
Iisha, why don't you go? Then I'll give you my thoughts. Oh, we can't hear you. She must be muted or your settings. Check your
My
settings.
bad. Why I gotta go? Because you see my face?
I'll give you my take.
Because
to me, it's pretty easy to read where some of these leaks are coming from. So let's go through it all. I mean, we've known for months now that the Cowboys were going to franchise tag George Pickens because all that does is gives them more time to get a long-term extension done. This gives them till, I believe it's July 15th to get a deal done. I think both sides want to get it done. I don't know why Adam Schefter decided to tweet it out the night before the Super Bowl. But again, this is something that we've all been hearing for a while, right?
Right.
And then we get on Sunday from Ian Rappaport that the Cowboys could trade George Pickens, and they've been open to trading stars before. And that to me sounds like a lot of agent talk of, hey, if you're going to franchise tag our guy, we're going to have to keep coming hard to come try to trade for him. Again, I don't know how realistic that is. However, it's not the worst idea in the world. I'm not saying the Cowboys should do that, but you just watched Seattle and their awesome defense. We saw how much that team dominated. If you could start to reallocate some of the resources on offense to defense, I don't think that's a bad idea. If somebody's willing to give you a massive trade offer for George Pickens, let's say it's a first-round pick, right? Somebody gives you a first-round pick for George Pickens, and rather than spending, let's say, $30 million a year on Pickens, you're able to turn that into a free agent edge rusher like Jalen Phillips. Is Jalen Phillips and a first-round pick that you would presumably use on defense more valuable to your team than George Pickens? I don't know, but it's at least worth discussing. And I'm sure the Cowboys will have some of those discussions over the next few weeks.
Also, too, I'm going to say something, and I hope it doesn't get me into any trouble, but there's context between those two reporters as well. And let's not act as though there's not competition in reporting and things like that, because it just seemed like something to talk about. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I understand we have to go through the hoopla and stuff, but I do understand the other side of reporting and things like that as well. And it felt like, oh, you said this to me. So I ignored it because I don't care, because we knew that he was going to get franchise tagged. And the idea, too many of the players publicly and privately being in the building have spoke about, and the important ones too. Let me verify.
Yeah.
the important ones too, the ones that matter. Yeah, those guys have spoken on the fact that they are willing. Even CD said this week, like, I'm willing to adjust my salary or do whatever it takes, to keep him. It's ultimately going to be up to the guys, but I don't think Dallas desires to trade him. I don't think Dallas desires him.
Here's the other thing. It would have been big news. It would have been the biggest news if it came out that the Cowboys weren't tagging George Pickens, because that means he would hit the open market, and that's what we would have led today's show with, right? But the fact that they're franchise tagging him is just, it's procedural. Like, we've known this is going to happen for a while. I don't know why it's a big deal.
Coach, any thoughts?
Nope.
Okay.
There you go. Good job, Coach.
For me, I'll just say it like
you scared.
this.
You got PTSD or something. You seem stressed out about it, Jeff. He like 1 foot in there.
What else do you want me? I mean, what else is there to add to that? It's like,
no,
I don't want to. I'm not into word salad, so I mean, that's what they were going to do. So what else do you want me to say?
You could say good point, Marcus.
I'm saying that Jeff is nervous about what's going to happen with Pickens. Every time he bring it up, he just like, the agent.
Yes, don't nervous know. All the time. He stays nervous.
He seemed like he do not think this is going to go smoothly right now. Like, how are you feeling?
But Jeff, let me ask you this. To me, this is different than the Micah Parsons situation, in the fact that you traded a 3rd-round pick for Pickens. He got an all-pro caliber season out of him. And let's say you did turn it into a 1st-round pick. Is that the worst case scenario in the world, that you traded a 3rd-round pick and now you got a 1st-round pick?
Yeah, but you're going backwards.
Well, yes.
How's this team drafted with their 1st round?
That's why I want more picks. I want more picks here, so we can. If we miss, it's okay. We missed only once out of 3 times.
Why would you waste missing when you have a proven person?
Again, I don't want to trade George Pickens, but there is a part of this where the Cowboys have the NFL's most expensive offense in 2025.
And why is that?
Well, because you paid your quarterback $60 million, which, to be fair, Stretch, he outplayed his contract. You paid CeeDee Lamb, you paid Tyler Smith, you paid Jake Ferguson. Is it really wise to invest even more money into the offense, paying Javonte Williams, paying George Pickens, when your defense is this bad?
I'm just glad you're not in the stockbroker business, because you
got to keep something stable, Marcus. Are you crazy?
100% agree. Again, that's why you're only trading George Pickens if you get a king's ransom, right? Do I think they're going to do it? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean they're not going to listen to calls if they come.
I think his agent is going to want him to get paid with a capital P, P-A-I-D. And I don't know. Of
course, because that's the only way the agent gets P-A-I-D is if he gets P. Yeah, that's a given. But I don't. But you know what? There's got to be somebody else that's going to do that too. There's got to be somebody else that's going to step up. I mean, there has to be a created market for that. My question is, do you really think that after what happened in Pittsburgh, 1 year in Dallas is going to get him the capital P-A-I-D? I don't know that.
No, and we've talked about that before on this podcast, and I think his market's going to be limited, and I think it's going to be teams that have a lot of cap space that maybe have shaky quarterback situations. And if you're George Pickens, I know that payday could be really enticing, but staying with an elite offense and a really good quarterback might help you more with your long-term value than just chasing a 3 or 4 year deal that pays you.
Played with some bad quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, and how did that go? He got traded for a 3rd-round pick, and nobody wanted him, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you play with bad quarterbacks, guess what? You're not getting as many balls, and now is your value being deleted because you're with somebody who can't throw it in the ocean standing on the beach?
Well, and that's why these players are in a tough spot with their agents, right? Because the agent wants to get them paid right now, because the agent doesn't necessarily care about 3 years from now, because a lot could happen. You could get hurt, your play could decline, the coach could get fired. What you care about is getting paid right now, and you don't always have the player's best situation in mind. We'll see what happens with George Pickens here.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, my first choice is they both agree, they find a deal they like, they find common ground, they work it out, get a deal, and live happily ever after, and it's all good, and there was nothing to worry about. So that's what I'm hoping.
Hey, my first choice would be where you get one of those flat bills.
This would be Target for $5. I'll send you one.
Nice.
A what? A what? A what?
This hat, it's not really flat brim, but that's all right.
Oh, the hat. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all. I just
He
feel like
Stretch just likes to pick on me, Iisha. That's all right. I get over it.
I said that. How can that be called picking? Jeff, will you step in with your fatherly skills? How can you call that picking on somebody when I said how you get one of those flat bills?
Listen, that's all right. I can take it. I'm not. Listen, Stretch doesn't scare me. We're good.
I'm telling you, the minute you can't be the quarterback, you take your damn ball and go home. The game's over.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And that's just an observation I've made. Absolutely not, ma'am. This is just an observation I made. Like, what is the big deal? I understand the salary cap. I understand all these things, but like, you gotta play good. You gotta pay good players. Why is it so much contingent? I understand the agents and all the hoopla and the decoration and the media fighting. I know that it gets messy, but I'm saying on a base level, if you want to be a good team, you are going to have to be prepared. You can't have guys come in here. Like, seriously, George Pickens, you saw he had a 1-year deal, prove it deal. He freaking proved it. Why is it just this constant, like, guys have to just keep proving themselves in this way?
What I'm saying is, where does he fit? Where does he fit in the hierarchy of receivers? Where would you place him? Because then that's where his money has to fit. Is he better than? Is he? I mean, we can sit here and go through the exercise, but I'm saying, is he better than? I don't know, who's your top receiver? JSN right now?
Yeah, him or Puka.
Probably.
Jamar Chase are in the top three. It's probably JSN, Puka, and Jamar Chase right now.
Yep.
Okay, and then is Jefferson right in there after that?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, he just needs
now start telling me now. After those guys, then where does Pickens fit?
I think he's still another. You've got some guys like CeeDee Lamb, who I think is still better than Pickens. I think he's more consistent, but I don't think he's that far off from that tier of receivers.
Right, but I'm just answering. I'm just going on what Iisha is saying. That okay, you gotta have those guys, and you gotta feel and where you've got really good discernment about how you feel about where those guys are.
And that's probably what the area scouts do, yes? Or that's what those guys are doing. They're looking
that's what the pro guys do.
What the pro guys do. They're looking at the competition, engaging, okay, even with the production, the stats, the durability, all that stuff comes into play. He is going to be considered, what I'm saying is even if he's below that tier, like Marcus was just saying, like, okay, you think CD's better, maybe he's 6th, 7th, whatever the case may be. Like
7.
If he's good, like what I don't understand, and I'm not necessarily talking about Pickens. I'm talking about a lot of players. It feels like when we come to contract time with guys that you have drafted and developed, they become what they're supposed to be for your team. And it's just this constant fighting sometimes of like getting these guys paid. And I know part of it is the agents. I know that. But what I'm also saying is like some of this just shouldn't be this difficult to me. And maybe I'm not understanding from the outside looking in, but it's like the guy earned his contract. He earned it.
Didn't they do that with Smith, the linebacker from Notre Dame? Isn't that what they did and tried to sign him to a long-term deal?
He hadn't earned it. To me, if you was looking at the same tape I was looking at, he hadn't earned it.
Well, they paid him for some reason. It doesn't matter what you or I say, because we're not saying the building, but it does matter what they say. And obviously they said something or they wouldn't have paid him that, correct?
I think the thing is,
somebody
Iisha,
that lives with drop foot, like, why would you ever? I literally live with what he has, and I don't understand why you would ever believe that the longevity of that player could exist, because nerves are degenerate. And I know somebody told them that. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, some of it just doesn't make sense to me. Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was going to say that teams deal with this across the league of having to make really difficult decisions. Seattle made one last year. DK Metcalf wanted a new contract. He wanted to be paid like one of the top 10 receivers in the league. Seattle didn't want to do that. They wanted to reinvest that money in the defense. So they traded him away for a 2nd-round pick to Pittsburgh. They used some of that cash to bring in guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and Ernest Jones. Now, it's not always going to work out in that scenario, but there are times where you need to kind of position your spending. And I do wonder at some point if the Cowboys are going to have that conversation, considering they've got the league's highest paid quarterback. They've got this third highest paid receiver. They've got the NFL's highest paid guard in Tyler Smith. At some point, they are going to need to shift some of this money over to defense.
And don't you think Seattle realized that they had to go get another receiver, and that's why he went and got Shaheed?
Absolutely. But maybe they didn't feel like the difference in $30 million for Metcalf versus a third-round pick for Shaheed was worth it to keep Metcalf, right?
Yeah, and like you said, like I think that's what Dallas, and that's what they've echoed. That's what they did with the Micah trade, is that they knew that they needed resources specifically on the interior of the defensive line, and they were willing to do that. So I understand that in some situations it is necessary for your team building. I get that. But I also don't understand when some guys are no-brainers. Why does this become like, what are we saying to a player when they do all the right things, when they come in, you draft them, develop them, they do all the right stuff, and you still take them through the ringer when it comes to the contracts? Like, I understand, and I know it's complicated, but I just wonder, what does that teach a player if they constantly have to prove their worth, even when they have basically earned it, outplayed it a lot of the time? I think it's a bit insulting. I get it. That's just me.
Well, I think you're all right. I think, what Coach, you're talking about the structure, and Marcus, what you're saying about the difficult decisions. I think in a perfect world that would all work out and everything would be smooth and seamless. And I'm sure there's a spot that the Cowboys would love to have him in. But I think his agent is looking at it like, no, this guy's my guy. I want him to be one of the top paid receivers in the NFL. And so can that meet? Can they smooth that out and find common ground? I just think with the added layer of the Micah situation last season, I just think it's going to be interesting. But to me, best case scenario, they reach a deal, they find common ground, they get a big term deal, and it's done. And it sets the tone for what will hopefully be a bounce back season. We'll see. All right. When we come back, speaking of trades, speaking of Micah, I got to ask you guys about this. Also, we had a couple of Cowboys that did not make it into the Hall of Fame. Want to get your thoughts on that. And we'll wrap things up with our final segment coming up. This is a real short break. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. There it is. See? Told you.
This is a real short break. So Stretch, don't you step away. See, you hear that parenting right there?
It was really gentle. It was the most gentle parenting ever.
Don't you step away, Stretch.
Love. The truth with love. All right. So Micah Parsons found his way in front of a microphone during the week. And according to Micah,
shocker.
According to Micah, there were talks between the Cowboys and the Eagles for Jalen Carter. Do you believe that? Do you think that was really real, a possibility at one point that the Cowboys would have done a trade with the Eagles?
I'm going to start with this. I'll start with this, Jeff. Mm-hmm. I know Micah a little bit. I think Micah has something that, as a parent, we call selective memory. Like if I asked my daughter if she ate 3 cookies, she might say, I don't remember, right? Well, Michael, when he got traded, said he was blindsided by the trade.
It's called selective amnesia.
Exactly, right? Micah said he was blindsided by the trade. He never saw it coming. And now it was, I wanted to go with the Eagles, but, if Jalen Carter was part of the trade, I told them I wasn't going. And then it was, there were some of these teams. No, I picked Green Bay because I really like the culture and the vibes. He also made a comment that he didn't talk to Jerry Jones since that March meeting. And there's pretty clearly a video of him at training camp walking around for 25 minutes talking to Jerry Jones. I'm not sure that we should put a lot of trust into what Micah says into a microphone.
I like how Michael play, but I don't really listen to him talk.
That's fine.
Ooh, nice.
Well, not when I'm just talking about these miscellaneous things. I'm just not. It'd be confusing me. So I just kind of. So what? That's Green Bay's finest.
I think Micah likes to talk is what it is. And then sometimes when you talk a lot, and listen, I've done this in the podcast, you forget what you say and you forget what you exaggerated or what you undersold. And it's kind of hard to go back and remember all the different things you said. So
he keep you guessing. He keep you entertained. He keeps you on your toes. So
I
mean, that's just Micah doing
Micah.
Well, I mean, when was I wonder when this was, because they did say that when Dallas was looking to trade Micah, is that they were looking for teams with defensive tackles, and a defensive tackle had to go. I don't think that they have a problem with Jalen Carter over there, though, enough to be like, bye-bye.
No, and we've heard that Jerry Jones like Quinnen Williams, and Jerry says that they almost traded Micah for Quinnen, and every Jets source said that wasn't the case at all. It's one of these things. It's like Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Everybody said they were there watching it. Now everybody had a great offer for Micah Parsons, and he had all these teams where he was wanting to go. And I think the further that we get removed from it, the bigger the story will grow.
Sounds good. Right. So we found out the Hall of Fame finalists and those that are in the class, but 2 Cowboys did not make it. Darren Woodson and Jason Witten, who I personally think are both Hall of Famers.
Stretch, which one do you think is more deserving of the Hall of Fame?
You know, I believe Woodson, because I think he really revolutionized what the downhill safety that could make checks, who could play center field, who, transitioned from being a linebacker at Arizona State. That's not taking anything away from Jason Witten, because I think absolutely Jason Witten should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, and certainly Woodson should be in. Look, you're going to draw me off sides with this because the Belichick situation is unbelievable. It really is. It's unbelievable. But I just think there's something wrong. There's something skewed in the voting. There's something wrong with the process, because I feel it's a bias against the Cowboys a lot of times. And there's no question both of those guys are Hall of Fame football players without question.
For me, it's Woodson too, because you watch that game on Sunday. You think Darren Woodson couldn't fit in that Seattle defense, playing in the slot, playing as a linebacker, blitzing off the edge? I mean, he could do it all. He was one of the first safeties that could come down and cover in the slot, and it's what made those Dallas defenses in the 90s so good. And I don't think people realize this is the Cowboys' all-time leading tackler. He was on the all-decade team. And again, Jason Witten's got a really good case. I think Darren Woodson was arguably the best defensive player on those 90 teams. I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. And the fact that 2 kickers have made it since Darren Woodson, has even been, close to being a finalist is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's disrespectful just because of everything y'all just said. We sit here and we watch safeties do the things that he really put in place. And I just think I find it disrespectful. I mean, and I also too, I always think about what current players feel like seeing some of these votes, because that's what they're working towards. That's what they want to be looked at as. And plenty of guys, when you reference that Cowboys team in the 90s, talk about Darren Woodson and his dominance and what he was able to do. So it's like, and him being a leader. So there are young guys in our league that chasing after that. And if they're seeing this, it seems like there's some tough opinions about what's going on. People are starting to ask some serious questions about what are even the qualifications? Can we see the Spark Notes? What is it supposed to be? Because some of these aren't making sense to even some of the greatest football minds. So how do you guys think that they address what's happening right now? Because this is not just Darren Woodson. I mean, we're seeing discrepancies with a lot of different coaches that people feel and players feel like they should be in the Hall. How do you guys think they should address it?
As somebody who has talked to several of the voters in there, first of all, it's a really old group of voters. And that doesn't mean that being old means you're a bad voter, but there's about 20 voters in there that just kind of stopped following the NFL or don't follow it as closely as they should. And they've got pretty direct biases to guys that have made the Hall of Fame this year. I think it would really benefit the Hall to revamp some of the voters. And again, that does not mean having a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds. That's not what I mean. But I'm saying get some people who are more active in it, that are following it, that are covering not just one team as a beat reporter, but are watching all 32 teams. I think that would really go a long way into having some healthy discussions, from just because what I've heard, they weren't even discussing some of these guys for more than 5 or 10 minutes. And that's just disrespectful to guys like Jason Witten and Darren Woodson, who had awesome NFL careers.
I knew it was disrespectful. I could sense it. Sorry.
Usually, I mean, don't they have a beat writer from each city that makes a case for the players?
So what it is you've got 32 beat reporters or from your city. Then you've got 18 at-large voters, and those are usually like this year, it's like Tony Dungy. It's some guys, in the media, or I think Lisa Salters is one. And the problem is if you get a beat reporter from, let's say, Kansas City, that only, sees their team play the Cowboys once every 4 years, they might not know just how good Darren Woodson is. And one of the knocks on Woodson is he doesn't have a lot of interceptions. So if you go to his Pro Football Reference page, the stats aren't there. But again, anybody who watched those 90 teams knows the kind of impact Darren Woodson had. I just think we can maybe find a better process of picking the top 5 guys for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And I loved Charles Haley when he was in his prime. Man, he was fun to watch. Great.
It's also crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's a little bit better.
I'm sure Coach can give us some good Charles Haley stories at some point.
Not going to draw me off sides tonight.
I want to make sure that we can stay on YouTube and we don't get in trouble here. So
that's important. So let me ask you this, a parting question before we go. So all that we talked about, I think there's no big mystery. We know where the needs are for the Cowboys on defense. I would think, right? I'm not being funny here. The organization, the Jones, they get that, right? They understand where they're at, where their offense is, and where their defense was. They've made a ton of coaching changes, but hopefully there'll be, I guess what I'm saying is there'll be a sense of urgency to really not waste another year of this offense and Dak being healthy and try to get this defense turned around as much as possible.
You would hope so, Jeff, but I'm telling you right now, we're about a month away from people in our business starting to say the Cowboys should draft a running back at pick number 12. I'm just telling you, don't be surprised when that happens and we're all going to lose our collective minds.
Marcus, please.
I'm just saying we don't need a running back here at 12. It's ridiculous. Get it out of your head.
Please.
Iisha, don't even tell me that you've thought about it.
No,
Okay,
only in stupid mock draft scenarios and stuff, and I hate those.
Yeah, well, there you go.
No.
Stretch, we're not drafting a running back in the first round. I'm just telling you right now.
There's only like one that's even.
Yeah, we're not even entertaining the thought.
What about trading a quarterback and drafting one of those?
Oh my God, he's trying to start stuff. He's trying to start
Draw,
stuff.
well, hold on. You say me drawing you offsides. What is that?
Every once in a while, you got to change the lure and cast it out. You fish. I mean, every once in a while, you just got to see if you can cast something else out there to see if you can get another
bad bait right there.
See if you can get another guppy on the line.
Jeff, I think that's our cue. I think we're good now. When we're talking about trading Dak, we're good.
Oh, it just hit me.
That's a Stretch trying to trade our quarterback.
What? Why would you gotta do that? Man. Oh, yeah, it's time. You need to take a nap.
Oh, there you go.
Need nap.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock at night. That's the first thing.
Nap.
Take a nap. Yeah, 7 o'clock at night. I'm going to take a nap.
All right. Before we go, Iisha, start with you. What do you got coming up this week where we can?
Oh, yes, sir. I will be on the Stack tomorrow with Brian Broaddus and Zach Wolchuk of 105.3 The Fan. I think we're getting into tight end this week because they ain't got no love really in the draft. So I'm trying to get the tight end some love this week. So catch us at the show will air at 3 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday and Thursday. And I'll be back here with you gentlemen on Thursday as well.
Awesome. Look forward to that. Marcus, what about you? Aside from
we're Yeah, well, no, but we're going to get to our top. We're going to start with some draft profiles starting on our Tuesday show. We're going to tell you who the best Ohio State defender is in this draft and how they would fit in with the Cowboys. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice. All right. We look forward to that. Marcus Mosher and Landon McCool on the Daily Locked On Cowboys podcast. Coach, have a great radio week. Any TV stuff happening for you?
No, last one last night. So we're going to get a push away from it a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, always a blessing for me to be a part of this. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all of your input. Thank you to everybody watching and listening live. And for those that listen later, we'll be back with you again on Thursday night. So please be sure and join us then. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.